Shalom Yasha'Allah. First and foremost, we get all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Wakak Wadash, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who rule well, and peace and blessings to the hopeful elect that puts this great gospel with sincerity and truth. This is your brother Tazakiah Yahweh from the Great Millstone, Indianapolis camp. Coming at you another lesson through the spirit and the power of Yahweh, Bashim Yahweh Shai, and the Lord will be edifying. Got an article here from the People's Voice.tv, and it reads, Poland announces it will no longer send weapons to Ukraine. And this article came out September 21st, 2023, the hopeful year that all these prophecies come to pass. And it says, it seems that the dam is breaking on unified Western support for Ukraine. A few hours after Warsaw subbing Kiev's ambassador, I believe Warsaw is the capital of Poland, it says Kiev's ambassador amid a row over grain exports, Polish Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki, announced that Poland would no longer arm Ukraine to focus on its own defense. The timing of the news couldn't be worse for Zelensky, who was expected to meet with President Biden at the White House on Wednesday evening. The latest move from Poland has the potential to change the entire course of the war. Till recently, Poland had been one of Ukraine's most staunchest allies. Right? They say some in news reports, will this massive and hugely significant about face mark the beginning of the end? Are peace negotiations and ceding of territory in the Donbass inevitable at this point? Within the last 48 hours, relations between Poland and Ukraine quickly spiraled to the lowest point since the Russian invasion, and it is directly related to Warsaw leading a handful of EU countries to extend the grain export ban on Ukraine. Amid continuing anger and outrage from Polish farmers who are suffering due to their countries being flooded with cheap Ukrainian wheat, crucially, Poland will hold parliamentary elections on October 15th. The prior atmosphere of enthusiastic pro-Kiev rhetoric has drastically changed now, with comparisons likening Ukraine to a drowning man. And that's why you got to be careful when you see in some reports, like when they talk about, and Ukraine done crushed this defense and crushed this stronghold there, and they're starting to win the battle and they're starting to do some that. If they was, and then we understand the whole fiasco anyway. Like, let's just put it in perspective. If they were on the upside and winning, why would nations be pulling out and stopping them, and stopping to help them? Like I said, Poland has been, like, pretty much like they number one, support as far as like sending, military, military, let's say like equipment and so forth and stuff like that, right? Of course you had other nations, the United States hitting, throwing stuff here and there, giving them money, this and that. But Poland was really, one of the main ones, boots on ground with them and sending them stuff and helping them. So it says Polish leaders have compared Ukraine to a drowning person hurting his helper, and threatened to expand a ban on food products from the war country. Right. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky suggested that EU allies that are prohibiting imports of his nation grain are helping Russia. Because like this whole thing has, remember they said Ukraine is was a breadbasket of over there in that region, but there has been a lot of bans and sanctions and so forth going that's like ultimately hurting the country. And then there's been some countries that has been banned from receiving exports from Ukraine. Like it's a lot of stuff going on over there. Whereas, like, a lot of people are unhappy. It say now, Polish officials who are trying to win parliamentary elections next month with help from farmers' votes are expressing dismay over some of Ukraine's latest moves, including the World Trade Organization complaint over bans on Ukrainian grain from Poland and 2 other EU countries. Right? It say, in surprisingly blunt and terse, I think they should say tense words, given to reporters on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly, Polish President Andrzej Duda said on Tuesday, Ukraine is behaving like a drowning person, clinging to anything available. He then said a drowning person is extremely dangerous, capable of pulling you down to the depths, simply drown the rescuer. Given Ukraine's battlefield losses and as it's currently bogged down in the failing counteroffensive, the words no doubt stung. Right? Like I said, but you got other news feeds that say they winning, so you gotta be careful when you looking into this, but as we understood, Ukraine against Russia, come on now. It's not even a whatever. No contest. It say, but as the Hill notes further the domestic political context in Poland, let's see. maybe I can read that. The public sentiment around the issue, however, has started to deteriorate, putting the ruling party in a difficult position ahead of a close October election. The far-right Confederation Party is hoping to capitalize on the waning support in the country. Reuters reported that a recent poll showed support for Ukrainian refugees fell from 91% when the war started to just 69% recently. The same survey showed a quarter of polls are against supporting refugees compared to 4% in early 2022. So they don't even want them even, coming over there to seek asylum and to, receive help. None of that. They say in response to the grain ban, Zelensky during his UN speech had condemned the alarming behavior of allies regarding the import ban, but without naming Poland specifically. Further, Kiev has announced plans to sue Warsaw and the World Trade Organization, while also holding out the possibility of its own embargo on Polish foodstuffs, including onions, tomatoes, cabbage, and apples. Again, all this amounts to a full-blown diplomatic crisis for Zelensky, which couldn't come at a worse time as he's in D.C. So the main reason why I brought this out is because this is showing, as the scriptures say, if Satan be against himself. Now, to make a few points, yes, Ukraine is not a part of the EU or of NATO, but they have been ultimately they've been wanting to receive. They've been submitting applications to receive, being a membership of them, but it has not happened yet. And this is some of the reasons why. It says, according to observers, I put why Ukraine is in the EU. According to observers, this is due to such factors as the unwillingness of the EU to expand to post-Soviet space, the poor performance of Ukrainian economy, the lack of democracy during the 1990s, and the internal instability. Another thing, they was pretty much saying, like, if they were to admit them and to give them partnerships, it would impact the EU negatively rather than do better for them, because it would take away funding from like other poor countries like Poland, Romania, I think, Hungary, Greece. Like it would stop the aid that they're receiving because they're part of the weaker countries of the EU. Like ultimately going to what's that Daniel 2 that speaks about? Let me see that. But like if you go into like Daniel 2 really quick, getting down to here we go, right here. Daniel chapter 2, just 2:41. It say, as whereas thou sawest the feet and the toes part of potter's clay and part of iron, right? That iron is going back to what the pagan Roman Empire, and that. But this is not. But that'd be what the fourth leg, which would be just a straight iron. See, this is that revised Roman Empire, right? Which is that iron and is a potter's clay. The kingdom shall be divided. Now, of course, again, like I said, Ukraine is not part of the EU or NATO, but they are a Edomite ran country, are they not? Right. So the Polish, the Russians, the English, the French, those predominantly Edomite countries, as they show, they the same people. That's still their kingdom as a whole. As I'm again, like the scripture say, Esau's in the world, Jacob's the beginning of the fall of. So even though they're not together, they still a part of the same nation, right? They're still their world. The earth is given to the hand of the wicked, right? They say, but there shall be in it of it the strength of iron, right? For as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay, and like that's that strength of iron. If I read verse 42, says, as to the toes, the feet were part of iron and part of clay. So the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. Now, again, we understand this talking about the NATO, the EU, but I brought this out because if they was to admit Ukraine in, they would be a part of what? That partly broken, right? You got the partly strong examples, like Germany, even though UK left EU, they still part of NATO, so, the UK, France, some of those, predominant, some of those prominent nations that would be strong, but partly broken to be like those weaker nations, like I read earlier, like Poland, Hungary, what was the other one? Like Romania, Greece, Greece, like those, say partly broken, so that was the main reason why I brought that part out. Again, this is exclusively talking about, the NATO, the EU, but saying if they were be admitted in, they'd be part of those that'd be, partly broken. They would pretty much saying that if we would admit them, they wouldn't benefit us any damn way. So we're going to the point. It's like here. Oh, let me get in the red. So this is another precept. Well, this was the main precept I had. This is Mark chapter 3, verse 23. And he called them unto them, and he said unto them in parables, how can Satan cast out Satan? And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. Again, they are all part of the kingdom of Edom. That's who rule the world right now, right? So if they against each other, like I said, Poland, they mad at, they against each other, mad at them. There was also said, well, just we could keep it exclusively about Ukraine. They still Edomites as well. So that's why they still seeking help from who? The beast. They don't want to eat. They help us, come help them. They want to be admitted into. They want to be a part of it, right? It says if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And this is showing division. Man, we not gonna help y'all no more. We gonna focus on ourselves. They talking about we gonna they gonna put bans and stuff on them. They done talking about we gonna sue y'all, right? This is Edomite against Edomite, right? It say, and if Satan rise against himself and be divided, he cannot stand but have an end. And we understand that the Esau's kingdom has an end. It's not going to keep going on and going on forever and forever. They're not going to be on top forever and forevermore. As we've seen, their kingdoms are what? Circling down the drain, crippling, deteriorating, sitting down in the dust, right? And that's only ended off with this, because they have an expiration date. The Lord had appointed their bounds that they cannot pass, right? So this is what? 2nd Ezra chapter 6, verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world, right? This world being what? Aeon, this current, rulership, uninterrupted rule, time period, right? It's saying Jacob, right? The Israelites, the kingdom of the Israelites is the beginning of it that followeth. And that'll be the only kingdom that comes after. There will be no other nation that rise up after so many years and they give them the power. It's 444, Call Halal Allah, Yahweh Shem El Shai, Bashem Kakudash. All praises. So it's a... But yeah, there will be no other nation that will rise up from the ashes, so to speak, after we put them under our foot and they reign. No, after Esau Edom was taken down, right? Then Jacob that followeth, the kingdom of the Israelites will reign forever and forevermore. It will never be destroyed, right? That's the scripture say, what the saints shall take the kingdom. As a matter of fact, just to make that point real quick, because some people think, well, after 1,000 years, then they're going to rise up again and they're going to defeat us. Like, no, it's not scriptural. Daniel chapter 7, verse 18. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom, right, and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Like I said, it's going to be forever, ever, right? Take the kingdom, not by diplomacy, not by Balfour Declaration. No, take it, right? The Lord is coming back. Yahweh shall come back with the holy angels to wage war against this place, to destroy these nations and their militaries, and to subdue them and put them underneath his foot. And that's what's gonna happen, the end all be all. So yeah, just showing, these people, these people are against each other. And ultimately, as the Lord said, man, their kingdom will not stand. So Lord willing, this lesson was edifying to sincere Akim or Akwafim, or brothers and sisters out there listening. We give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, the honor to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to the hopeful that this pushes great gospel in sincerity and truth. Shalom, Yashalawa, Abide, Babal.